I still remember that day like it was burned into my brain. I walked out to my driveway, and the spot where my brand new SUV should have been was just empty. Nothing. Just a scrap of soggy cardboard lying there, with words scrawled in black marker. Towed by HOA, rule violation. My hands started shaking before my brain could even process what I was reading. The problem? I wasn't in any HOA. I'd never signed up for one. And yet, somehow, someone decided they had the right to take my car, my family's car, because it was parked the wrong direction. At that moment, I didn't know if I was more furious or terrified. But I knew one thing. Someone had just declared war on me. I live in a small neighborhood outside of Denver, Colorado. Quiet, family-oriented. The kind of place where people wave when you mow your lawn. Years ago, there used to be an HOA here, but it dissolved after some messy lawsuit. Life had been peaceful since, until about a year ago, when a woman named Karen Blake moved in 2 streets over. She was the kind of person who thought clipboards made her powerful. She'd strut around the block like she was inspecting a military base, stopping people to scold them about weeds, fences, trash bins, even the color of someone's mailbox. And one day, she decided to revive the old HOA. Now, no one actually voted for it. She just announced it at a block meeting with a few of her friends, waving around some yellowed papers and calling herself the president of the Maple Ridge Homeowners Association. She claimed the old HOA bylaws gave her authority to enforce the community standards. People laughed at first, until she started mailing out invoices for community maintenance fees. When I got my letter, I chuckled, tossed it in the trash, and went about my day. But Karen didn't like being ignored. She came knocking a few days later, standing on my porch with her fake smile and a folder of papers. "Mr. Carter," she said, "you're still under the HOA charter you signed back in 2008. "Karen," I told her, "that charter's dead and gone. I talked to a lawyer years ago. The HOA doesn't exist anymore." Her smile twitched. "We'll see about that." And she turned and walked away. From that day on, things started happening. Random little things. Notes on my door. "Your lawn is out of compliance." Flyers left on my windshield demanding fees. Then came the whispers. Neighbors who used to wave at me suddenly crossing the street when they saw me. I later learned Karen had been telling people I was refusing to pay my dues, that I was some freeloading jerk trying to ruin the neighborhood. Still, I tried to brush it off. You can't argue logic with someone who lives for drama. But then, the night scratches appeared all over the side of my SUV. Deep, deliberate scratches down both doors, like someone took a key and dragged it from end to end. It wasn't just vandalism, it was personal. We'd saved up for that SUV for years, skipped vacations, worked weekends, finally got a car big enough for the whole family. And someone, some adult, thought it was okay to ruin it out of spite. I called the cops, but there wasn't much they could do without proof. My gut told me who was behind it, but I couldn't prove it. So I kept quiet, until the day they towed it. I had gone out with my wife to get groceries. When we came back, the driveway was empty. No car, just that cardboard note. Towed by HOA. I called every towing company in the county until one finally said, "Yeah, we got an order from Maple Ridge HOA. They said the car was parked backward in violation of Section 14. I almost laughed. "There is no Maple Ridge HOA. You realize you just stole my car?" The guy stammered something about having paperwork and hung up. Karen was standing across the street, arms folded, pretending to water her lawn. I walked over and said, "Where's my car, Karen?" She smirked. "If you'd just paid your dues, maybe we could have talked about it." I swear, I saw red. My wife had to pull me back before I said something that'd land me in jail. That night, I sat in my empty garage for hours, staring at the oil stains where my SUV used to sit. I felt powerless, humiliated. I kept replaying it in my head. Had I been too stubborn? Should I just have paid something to make her stop? My wife found me there, silent, fists clenched. "Jake," she said softly, "this isn't your fault. She's bullying us." And that broke something in me. Not in a bad way, but like a lock snapping open. If she wanted a fight, I was done playing nice. The next morning, I called my neighbor, Sheriff Daniels, who'd moved in a month earlier. I told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, "You're not the first one, Jake. That woman's been harassing people since the day she got here. Let's go pay her a visit." We walked over together. Karen opened the door, instantly switching on her sugary voice. "Oh, Sheriff, what brings you here?" He didn't smile. "I'm here about Mr. Carter's vehicle. I need to see your HOA documentation." She hesitated, then disappeared inside and came back with a wrinkled stack of papers, printed from the early 2000s. Daniels flipped through them, raised an eyebrow. "These are expired," he said, "and even if they weren't, you have no legal right to enforce them without reactivation through the county." Karen's face turned pink. "We're in the process of reinstating." "Then you've got no authority," he cut in. "You've just committed property theft." Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Daniels turned to me and said, "Let's get your car back." He called the towing company right there. Within 2 hours, my SUV was returned, with the towing fees billed directly to the HOA, Karen's HOA. But it wasn't over. Oh no, because when people like her lose face, they don't quit, they double down. 2 weeks later, I woke up to the sound of air hissing, went outside to find my tires slashed, all 4 of them. Deep, clean cuts. And this time, I didn't bother guessing who did it. I decided to prove it. I spent our savings to install a full security system around the house. Cameras, motion lights, the whole deal. My wife thought I was being paranoid. But the very first night those cameras were up, I caught them. At 2:13 a.m., 2 men wearing matching Maple Ridge HOA security shirts sneaked onto my driveway, crouched beside my car, and started slashing my tires, and standing at the edge of the street, watching them like a supervisor. Was Karen Blake herself? The footage was crystal clear. Her face, her voice, her stupid clipboard. I sent it all to Sheriff Daniels. He showed up at my door 2 hours later with a grin and said, "Ready to end this?" By noon, there were 3 squad cars parked in front of Karen's house. She came out screaming about false accusations and community harassment. But when Daniels played the video on his tablet, the moment she leaned against the lamppost watching my tires get destroyed, she just froze. Her eyes darted around at the neighbors gathering on the sidewalks, phones out, recording. Her face drained of color. "Karen Blake," Daniels said, "you're under arrest for property damage, harassment, and impersonation of a community authority." She tried to sputter something about neighborhood bylaws, but he was already putting the cuffs on. Watching her being led to the cruiser should have felt satisfying. And, yeah, it did. But more than that, it felt like relief, like breathing clean air after weeks of choking on smoke. The investigation after that was almost amusing. Turns out, her little HOA wasn't just fake. It was a full-blown scam. She and her board members had been collecting money from half the neighborhood, pretending it was for maintenance fees. None of it went to maintenance. They'd pocketed thousands. When the case went to court, the judge didn't even blink. 1 year in jail, plus restitution for every homeowner she'd conned, and for the damages to my car. Word spread fast. The HOA Maple Ridge sign she'd nailed to the front gate got ripped down the next day. The once silent neighbors who'd believed her started coming by, not to celebrate, just to quietly apologize. "We didn't know," one woman said, eyes downcast. "She said you were dangerous." I nodded. I didn't hold grudges, but I wasn't ready to forgive either. A few weeks later, I saw a for sale sign in Karen's front yard. She never came back after serving her sentence. I heard she moved states away. I wish I could say everything went back to normal, but it didn't. Not really. Because once you've been bullied by someone pretending to have power, you start looking at authority differently. You realize how easy it is for one manipulative person to twist fear into control. Now, when I drive past the corner where her house used to sit, I slow down just a little. The place looks smaller somehow, like the shadow she cast over the neighborhood finally disappeared. I don't smile, I don't gloat, I just feel calm. Because I learned something the hard way. You don't let people like that decide what rules you live by. You stand your ground, even when it costs you. And that's the thing about power. Once you stop being afraid of it, it stops working.